Congrats on your decision to join the U.S. military. The first step in that journey is getting past the ASVAB test. And in this video, I'm going to help you understand that test and give you some great tips to help get you ready. Welcome to the U.S. Military Test Prep channel by Study.com. I'm Dr. Steele, and I'm a Study.com test prep expert. On this channel, I'll walk you through everything you need to know to pursue a career in the military. Think of me as your secret weapon. I'll give you expert tips, insider advice, and top-notch study materials to boost your confidence and your results. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about the Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery, or ASVAB for short. All right, let's do this. First, the basics. The ASVAB is a set of standardized tests given by the U.S. Department of Defense, or DoD for short. It's required for anyone who wants to enlist in the military. There's a lot riding on your ASVAB scores. They literally determine if you're qualified to enlist, where you're placed after you enlist, and which jobs you'll be eligible for. Each military branch sets its own minimum score requirement. Let's take a second here to define aptitude, that second A in ASVAB. The ASVAB is structured a little differently than your standard knowledge-based exam like the GED. Aptitude is defined as your natural ability to complete a task successfully. So what's that mean? It means you might get questions on the ASVAB on stuff you've never seen before, stuff you've never learned. It's by design, so expect it. How does it work? The ASVAB tests are designed to measure your aptitude in 4 key areas: verbal, math, science and technical, and spatial. Aptitude in those 4 areas is measured through 10 subtests. I'm going to share a table now that highlights each of these subtests. You can pause the video here to review it. Also, stay tuned for future videos where I'll dive deeper into each subtest and how best to study for them. So where do you take the test? Most ASVAB testing is done at a Military Entrance Processing Station, or MEPS for short. There are 65 locations across the United States and Puerto Rico, so there's a good chance you're within driving distance of one of them. Your recruiter can help with that, but if you don't want to wait, just search MEPS in Google Maps. And if you don't have a MEPS near you, you can also search for a Military Entrance Test Site. That's MET for short. And these are operated out of National Guard, Army Reserve, or other federal facilities throughout the country as needed. Some of the testing sites are still in the process of reopening after COVID, so it's a good idea to check with your recruiter to make sure you know which testing sites are available. The test is given on either computer or paper and pencil formats for now. Most locations have shifted to the computer format only. In fact, over 70% of people now take the test on a computer, and that number will only continue to grow. The computerized version of the ASVAB is adaptive. That means the test adapts to your ability level. So you move through the test, and the computer will adjust your new questions based on how you answered the previous questions. But try not to think about that during the test. Every exam is going to have questions you think are easy and some questions you think are hard, so it's nearly impossible to tell the difference between that normal variation in difficulty and the adjustments made by the computer. The best thing you can do is stay focused on the question in front of you and only the question in front of you. Let's talk about test day. The ASVAB is a timed exam, and you will be held to a strict time limit for each of the 10 subtests. The DoD continues to phase out the paper and pencil version, so I'm going to focus on the computer version. The table I'm sharing on screen now shows the length and time for each subtest. Pause the video here to check it out. The subtests are shown in the order you'll take them. In total, you can expect 135 questions and just over 3 hours of total time available. The computer format lets you move ahead at your own pace, so as soon as you finish one subtest, you can immediately start the next. The average test taker only uses about half the time available, so it's doable. There's no bonus for finishing early, so go at your own pace, and feel free to use all the time available if you need it. Another thing to remember, because of the adaptive format, your questions will be different from the person taking the test next to you. So don't be distracted by when they appear to be moving on to the next section. Let's talk about ASVAB scoring. Your ASVAB score determines not only your eligibility to join the armed forces, but also your specific job placement after you enlist. It plays a critical role in shaping your future military career. You'll be scored on each of the 10 different subject areas, and you'll get a composite score. All the scores range from 1 to 99 and operate on a percentile basis. So a score of 50 means that you were in the 50th percentile, or that you scored better than 50% of the other recruits. Note, the score of 50 does not mean you got 50% of the questions right. The first score you want to look at is your composite score, which is the Armed Forces Qualification Test, or AFQT for short. It's an average of the 4 basic subject categories of arithmetic reasoning, mathematics knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and word knowledge. This score determines your eligibility to enlist. So, you need to beat the minimum required score for the military branch you want to join. Each branch has its own minimum requirement, but typically it's a number in the low to mid 30s. If you're struggling to beat the minimum AFQT score, then check out my other videos, because I'm going to be posting a number of videos that focus on how best to study for those subject areas specifically and raise your score. All right, next you want to dive into your specific subject scores. These are also referred to as your line scores, and they determine your specific job opportunities. This is where maximizing your score becomes extra important. Using the Army as an example, a 31 AFQT score may get you in the door, but if you want a technical position, in electronics for example, like as a radar repair specialist, then you'll be expected to show above average aptitude in math, science, and electronics information. There's a lot to dig into here, so stay tuned for more videos. The basic rule of thumb is that the higher your scores are, the higher your earning potential will be, and the more career options you'll have to choose from. That concludes today's episode of U.S. Military Test Prep. Give us a thumbs up if you're feeling more prepared. Leave us a comment with any questions or topics you'd like us to cover, and make sure you subscribe for more U.S. Military Test Prep content. Stay sharp, and I'll see you in the next video.